Hi everyone, Krishna this side. In this video, I'll be covering this LeetCode problem 1432 max difference you can get from changing an integer. Let us look into the problem statement first, then we'll discuss about the logic and I'll write down the solution as well. Okay, so you are given an integer num. You will apply following steps to num two separate time. Okay, pick a digit x ranging from 0 to 9, pick another digit y ranging from 0 to 9. Note that y can be equals to x. Replace all the occurrence of x in the decimal representation of num by y. Okay, so whichever digit that we pick, this x should be from this num. That makes sense because if any digit that we pick which is not available in num, it won't get replaced, right, at all. So whichever the digit x we pick, it should be from this num, and whatever the y digit that we pick, that is something what we replace all across the num. This x value, whichever the value that we have. Okay, let A and B be two separate results for from applying the operation to num independently. Okay, so we will get two different values A and B when we apply these operations. So return maximum difference between A and B. So see, to get the maximum difference, of course, A's values will be the maximum value that we can get it by performing this operation, and B's value should be the minimum value that we can get it by performing these operations. Okay. Note that neither A nor B may have leading zeros and must not be zero. Okay, now the logic is idea is pretty much straightforward. Okay, the whatever the problem statement it is saying, so it shouldn't be started with the zeros. So it is kind of similar to what we have done yesterday, and both the problems are similar. Just that for minimum value that we are trying to get, it is another condition they have added here that it shouldn't be started with the zeros, the leading zeros. Okay, so yeah, we will discuss about the logic first. So let us take another example. Let us say if we have this example, okay. Um, let us think about this one example to get the maximum value from this one. What is the value that needs to be modified to get the maximum value, right? So which digit we can modify to get the maximum value? Of course, whichever the digit, the first digit that we have, if we convert it into the 9. Okay, it doesn't matter if it is 1, if it is 3, if it is 4, if it is 8. If we convert it into 9, definitely this number is going to be the maximum value, right? So wherever this 8 actually appeared, that we can simply have to modify, replace it with 9. Okay, this is like 7, 4 and 8 will get replaced with the 9. Okay, this is the first thing that we can do. But what if the number itself started with the 9, right? So in this particular case, what we can do is this 999 is already the maximum value that we can see, correct? So whichever the first not digit which is actually not equals to 9, that is something what we will replace it with 9. Okay, this is the same thing that we actually did yesterday as well, and that is something what we modified. Apart from this, we cannot get the maximum value by following these conditions, correct? So yes, first not 9 digit value is something what we will replace it with 9. That way we can get the maximum value. So for maximum value, we got the logic. We will look through this one from this num and we check if whichever the first non 9 digit we saw, we will pick that digit, and again we will run from this nums array, nums value, and we check that wherever the digit that is we got, we will simply replace it with 9. Okay, that is the first logic for the maximum value. Now we got the maximum value. Apart from this, we cannot get any maximum value, okay, by following these conditions. Now think about minimum value. Okay, let us say if we have this array, okay, to get the minimum value, the first digit needs to be get converted into 1, correct? As in, it is said that the leading zeros, it shouldn't be any leading zeros, it shouldn't have any leading zeros, so we cannot consider the first digit into 0. Yesterday we don't have this condition, but today we have this condition. Only this condition is what we have extra thing in this one, correct? So instead of converting it into 0, we can convert it into 1, correct? That way we can get the minimum value, the least value that we can get it from the array by following these conditions, correct? But what if the number actually started with 1? Okay, in this case what we can do is, if it is started with 1, we will check that whichever the first non 1 digit, that value that we saw, that is something what we will replace it with 0. Why? Because we have the range from 0 to 9, and if we are not replacing the first, if it is not the first digit that we are trying to replace, of course, whichever the next digit we are trying to replace, we can replace it with 0, right? So yes, whichever the first non one digit value that we saw, that is something what we try to replace it with 0. Because the number actually started with 1, and if we saw again 1, and we try to this consider that this one wherever it appeared, we will try to replace it with 0. That way, what the problem what happens is the first digit will also get replaced it with 0. Yes, if digit started with 1, we have to make sure that that whatever the digit that we are trying to pick, it shouldn't be 1 again, and yes, it shouldn't be 0 as well, because we are trying to replace the 0, right? Any digit with 0. So if it is 0 again, so we have to skip that one, and we have to check for the next one. Okay, and the next digit that we saw is here is 7. That is something what we will replace it with 0. So wherever this 7 actually appeared, we will replace it with 0. That way we can get the minimum value. So here, for getting the minimum value, two operations are what we are doing. The first operation is simply, if the digit is actually not started with 1, we will replace that first digit wherever it appeared with 1. If digit is actually started with 1, we will make sure that whichever the first digit that is there in this one, we have to convert it into 0. And if it is 0, while looking into this one, we have to skip that one. 0 or 1, those both the values, if they are there, we have to skip them, correct? Because 0 again, if we try to replace the 0, the same value is something what we get. But if we try to modify this value with 0, right, this is going to be the least value that we can get. Let us think that if you try to replace 3 with 0, of course, these leading values, let us just ignore these leading values. We have this 7, 3, 9, then 7, 3. This is the value that we have. Which value, if we try to replace with 0, will be the least one? 7, of course, right? Because that is going to be the least value that we can get. Instead of trying to replace this 9 or 3, we can replace the first non 0 on one digit from this one with 0 value to get the minimum value. Now we get that both the maximum and minimum value, we can simply subtract them. So yes, that is the simple and pretty much straightforward logic. What we can do is, first we will convert this array into the string so that we can get all these we can look into the particular index and check that if it is the value that needs to be modified or not. This way the operations are pretty much simple and straightforward. String dot value of this num, this will convert into the string this particular number. Now what we will do is we'll try to get the maximum value. So the character is something what we will figure out. Max char, I'll just keep it, it's empty. For int I equals to 0, I less than s dot length I plus plus. So in this one, what we will do is we will check that if s dot char at I, if it is equals to 9, if it is not equals to 9, okay, if it is not equals to 9, we simply get that char into this max char, or let us name it as first non 9. Okay, that way we will get the idea. First non 9. Okay, so whichever the character that we got, that is something what we will replace with 9. That way we can get a maximum value. Once we get that character, we simply break it, because if the keep on this loop keep on going, whatever the last first non character that we got, that is something what we will store it, right? So yes, it is better to break from this loop the moment we get the first non 9 digit. Okay, now we have to think the logic for the minimum value that we can get. Here two conditions are something what we applied, right? So for that, what we will do is we will think that the first character that is there, main digit, we will store it into this one. Okay, s dot char at 0 digit, whichever it is, and we will think that we have to replace it with 1. Okay, if this main digit, if this main digit is actually equals to 1, in that case only we have to get the next non 1 digit as well as non 0 digit value, the first value, and the moment we get that value, we replace it with 1 wherever it appeared. For that, what we will do is we will run a for loop for int equals to 1, I less than s dot length, I plus plus. And from this one, what we will do is we'll check that if s dot char at I, if it is not equals to 1, as well as s dot, because if we try to replace the character which is 0 with 0, that is going to be the same value, right? So it shouldn't be 0, it shouldn't be 1, and whatever the character that we got, first character, we update this main digit now with that character s dot caret I, and the replace is now been modified from 1 to 0, and we will break from this loop, okay, the moment we get that value. So yes, that is all. We got both the characters that needs to be modified across the arrays, across the string. We will create two string builders, and max digit new string builder, yes, should be capital here. String builder min digit new string builder. Okay, you have to understand that why I am using here the string builder instead of string, because the moment you try to use as a string and keep on performing these operations replacing a character, it will keep on creating new objects into the memory, and it is going to be pretty much heavy if we are trying to, for each character we are trying to create new objects, because any operations that we do with the string, it will definitely create a new object, but builders are mutable, so once the object is created, it won't get modified, and we are just performing the operations on the same objects. Okay, so yes, we have to make sure that we are using string builders instead of strings, and using the replace, char, something, those operations on the string, we will do it with the string builder. Okay. Now I equals to 0, I less than s dot length, I plus plus. We will try to get the char for building this max digit, char ch1 equals if s dot char at I, if it is equals to this first not 9, if it is equals, then we simply replace it with 9, or else whichever the character is there, we will simply keep it is there, and we build this max digit dot append ch1. So yes, it will, we will check that if whichever the character that we figured out, if it is there, we will simply replace it with 9 to get the maximum value, or else whichever the character that is there, we will keep as it is. Okay, and we will keep on building this max digit, and to build the main digit, es2 equals s dot caret I equals this main digit, that is something what we tried figuring out. If it is the case, we will use the replace, sorry, uh, or else whichever the character is there, that is something what we keep as it is. Okay, replace is something what we modified if it is not started with 1. Correct, if it is started with 1, we are doing this operation. If it is not started with 1, simply this logic is something what it runs. Okay, replace will be 1 by that time. So what we do is we will build this main digit dot append ch2. Now we created both the strings, we just have to convert them into the strings, and sorry, convert them into the integer, parse int max digit dot toString, since they are strings, string builders, so we have to convert them into the strings, and this parse int will convert it into the integer. Again, I'll just copy this one, place here, copy this main digit, place here. Okay, maximum value minus minimum value, just run this code. The logic is pretty much straightforward, just simple modifications for this one are required. It was definitely the same one. What is the error? Char ch equals to it shouldn't be empty. Okay, now yes, we haven't given this semicolon here. Okay, there are multiple errors again. Line number 28. What is the error I have done here? uh min digit was already defined, right? So I'll just name it as sb2 because it is frustrating. sb2 dot append ch2. Okay, here also sb2. Okay, because min digit is something what we already defined and I was trying to get the same name. See, naming is something what we have to give properly. Okay, I just have randomly give any names here. Let me submit the code. And if we discuss about the time complexity, here it is going to be big O of n. Here it is going to be big O of n. If we enter into this if condition, here it is going to be big O of n. So 3 times n plus the space is something what we have used again. So it is going to be 3n. Okay, yeah, that's all about this particular video. And if you have solved yesterday's problem, you guys would have easily solved this particular problem as well. So thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.